No, you should not be perfect.
Hey guys, how you guys doing so far today? Right on. Well, you guys, today's a little bit cooler than last time. I'm glad to see you guys be a little bit more sportsmanly than last time. It's been a lot better off. I'm very proud to hear that. So keep up the good work. You guys are doing awesome. Well, for those of you guys that know my messages, a lot of the times I kind of go off the handle a little bit. I tend to just kind of come up with an idea, and I kind of just let God speak through me through a bit of a meal, so to speak. But here recently, I updated something on Facebook, one of my own posts, and it's one of the biggest I ever posted, and it really hit a particular topic. If you guys are on Facebook, you guys understand how there are certain GIFs or memes that kind of, portray a certain aspect. If you guys are more modern on YouTube, on Facebook, you kind of see this guy sitting at a bench. He has that little banner and it says a whole bunch of random stuff. You probably know what I'm talking about. I kind of find them amusing at times, but there was this one that was brought up that really kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And everybody has their own opinions when they put them on Facebook. This is something particular that really strikes me hard, because as somebody who really wants to have my own family one day, it's something that really strikes me when people are viewing certain things differently than I do. And I understand we're in America, we're going to express our own opinions, but you know what, I'm just going to let the message speak for itself. I apologize right away. It's going to be a little bit longer than I normally would read something, but bear with me, and please don't talk and try to pay attention the best you can. I don't want to have to speak too loudly. So, I'm going to just read the way I was spelling it out here. To those willing to read this, again, this is on a Facebook post. It saddens me to see how little people value life. Now, I know you might be thinking that's an odd statement, considering all the steps we're willing to take to address blank lives matter, you know where I'm going with that one, or equality for whatever part of society you feel needs to be addressed the most. But what is it that comes before all of that? What comes before we can even address living with each other with some form of balance? Adults, or legally aged, if you will, are the voices that make the majority of opinions and objections that are addressed in our society. Their voices form the greatest number of experienced judgments in life, be they parents, teachers, managers, enforcement, so on. Through their lives' experience, we have come to acknowledge them as those who understand the values of life, even though they will not agree on all points. But what comes before adulthood? The life of a child, or somebody under the legal age, is something priceless. At this stage of their life, they are developing their own understanding of the value of life. Through all the questions and hardships, they're slowly creating a summary of what life means to them. And as other opinions conflict and confirm with their views, they find what they want in life. Sadly, a younger person's perspective is often counted for very little until the responsibilities of life are laid upon them. Only through enough success can their opinions be seen as credible. But, of course, all the level of acceptance will vary from each individual's circumstance. But, what comes before childhood? The life of an infant is seen in many different ways. They're constantly curious. They don't understand dangers. They absorb attention. And they're messy. But overall, they are a bundle of emotions that hasn't gone past the desires of getting love, attention, and the removal of all discomfort. And an infant doesn't understand the true values of life because they aren't able to understand them yet. We are all supposed to be trained by our parents on how to make good use of our mind, body, time, and resources. But overall, an infant has a fundamental value on life. But what comes before infancy? Now, this is the part I would like to spend my time on. Through each stage of life, the value of life takes on a different meaning as different things come in our life. New things that affect our daily routine. And very few people will experience the same things throughout their life as another. And even if they did, it's unlikely that the individual will come to the same conclusions as the other in all things. We all think differently in some big or small way. And because we don't think the same way, the values we gauge will differ as well. Now, I'm sure you're all wondering, what is it I'm trying to get across here? The thing that saddens me is how much our opinions on human life differ. I don't mean fair wages, racial division, cultural structure, male versus female, physical, mental disability, or social class. I mean life before birth. Bear with me. This is the one stage in the human life cycle that we as fellow human beings feel like there needs to be an argument along the lines of what that a living human organism is scientifically alive. How is it that we despise the thought of slavery, rage at the thought of rape, move towards a better sense of equality, and are fearful of murder? And yet, we make this the least addressed issue, the beginning of life. In Proverbs 1:39, 13 through 16. And this is not this is not Jesus speaking here. For you created my innermost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know this full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place. When I was woven together in the depths of the earth, your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days adorned for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. Although these words were spoken by a man, King Solomon knew God's valued all life, and he doesn't leave any arguments for us to exclude life at any stage. I've heard the arguments. What if I was forced and had no say in the matter? I think we can all agree that being forced into anything of the sort cannot be justified. But consider this. Romans 8:28. Oh, come on, Bob. Here we go. Romans 8:28. And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good. For those who were called according to his purpose. If you have a love for God, then he will provide a purpose for all the misfortune you are forced to endure. God does not leave you if you seek him, even if mankind's free will forces you to endure. Come on, phone. I'm thinking way slowly today. Perhaps another argument is that comes to mind is that I can't support the life that will come one day. Well, there are people and places that will take care of the baby once it has come. It may not be the best thing for it, but at least that light will be able to take hold of the future it was made to, that it was blessed with. And if you don't want to endure the pain of what came of your decision, just remember that actions have consequences. We don't have to use logic or science to harden our hearts to the truth that all life matters. And if you're unable to let that go, take this into mind. I think we can all agree with the phrase, where there's growth, there's life. If you know anything about how babies are made, then you should know that an embryo is where life begins. But just because the growth cycle occurs in stages doesn't mean that it isn't a living being at any certain point. Just like the stages of life after birth gives us a reason to justify whether a person has a credible understanding of values or reason, we are so determined to say that life begins at certain points, at a certain point between the conception and birth, when it's the whole process that is a gift granted by God. If you've been here listening to me say this so far, you guys, God bless you guys. But here's the main point. If you don't think abortion is murder, then just remember that the removal of a life is still a life taken. Human laws will justify and have justified many inhuman acts throughout history. Don't let logistics and legal reasons justify the most important part of God's creation to be destroyed, the gift of life. I don't brag about this, you guys, but there are two reasons why I am a sheer miracle. First off, my parents were not able to conceive children. Somehow they still had 3 kids. And secondly, I left my mother's womb nearly strangled by my own umbilical cord. There have been 2 reasons why I should not be here today. And yet there are people who want to justify removing a child because it's uncomfortable. Well, they don't want to take responsibility for it. I want to be a dad one day, okay? I'm being full honest with you. I want to be a dad one day, and it hurts me to see that people can't take life like that seriously. I'm sorry if it's something uncomfortable for you guys to listen to, but again, we're Christians and we bring up controversial points. When it comes to life, you guys, God values life of all kinds. And above all, he will hold us accountable for every decision we make, whether it is with somebody or to somebody. I want you guys to take this seriously, okay? Whether you're too young to think about it right now, or if you're dads right now, or if you're going to be parents one day, it all means the same thing. Does life mean something to you? Or is it just, you know, something that's going to come one day, but it's not technically alive yet? This hurts me a lot to think that people don't care that much, because it is real. It's something that means something, not just to us, but to God. He gave us that gift of life, and we're willing to take it for such granted we want to remove it from our lives because it's inconvenient. I'm going to end it with that really quick, you guys. I want to pray for you guys really quick, and we'll get going on with our day.